Good evening. Good evening. Happy Sunday. Perhaps it is Monday, depending upon where you are on the globe. This is just going to be a quick live in reference to the sign of the times or the times for which we are living. And before I proceed, I present to you my disclaimers. First, the Fair Use Act disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which states allowance is made for the fair use of copyrighted material for purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, research, education, teaching, and/or scholarship. It provides for the legal, non-licensed citation and/or incorporation of copyrighted material by others, which might be infringing under other circumstances. And next, we have my viewer discretion disclaimer, which states the following broadcast contains mature themes and situations intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. And let me check the comments really quickly before I continue. Thank you to those that have come in. Hello there, Sana. How are you? Spenta, how are you? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you to those who will catch the replay. So before I begin, I want to start with a quick video. And again, let me put this up just in case. Fair use. And if you're able, listen to the lyrics. Okay, and we're back. Greetings to everyone. Greetings to my members, Andrea Smith, Rita Prophet, and welcome again, Sana, Spenta, Deshawn on the track, Twin, B-Song, how are you? April Showers. So that was the late Prince Rogers Nelson, and his award-winning song, Sign of the Times. Now, if you are not familiar with the lyrics, I implore you to go and visit the actual lyrics. Some of us already know them that are huge Prince fans, but the title of this video and broadcast is The Sign of the Times, or the Times for Which We Are Living. And my question to the chat and to those who may catch the replay, are these the signs of the times, or are they just times for which we're living? I did a video earlier on an AI, artificial intelligence inspired soft drink. And those of us that have been following many people, we've heard, and some of us have done actual research on artificial intelligence. And with everything that is going on as far as mandates, food shortages, a rise in healthcare, which I spoke about not too long ago, behavioral changes, socio-economic changes. Are there any correlations to all of those? Because they really reach the gamut from one spectrum to the other. Many of us, at least I knew, I grew up where we would hear, well, some of us may have heard, oh, it's the sign of the times, it's the second coming. And with that, I'll present to you briefly an excerpt from the book of Revelations. Now, I do know that there are a lot of people, and there's no judgment here whatsoever. Many people do not believe in the Bible. There are some that do not believe in the Quran. But for purposes of this broadcast, this is an excerpt from the book of Revelations, and it states, to the 7 churches in the province of Asia, grace and peace to you from him who is, and who was, and who is to come, and from the 7 spirits before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins by his blood, and has made us to be a kingdom of priests to serve his God and Father. To him be glory and power forever and ever. Amen. And I'll see any comments thus far. Big Dog Philly, how are you? Thank you for showing up. So, with that, your thoughts as we begin the sign of the times, or the times for which we're living. And if you find any credence into that short scripture, again, taken from the book of Revelation, and everybody is speaking, which is awesome. And the next question, are we living in assimilation? And after I go over my quick commentary This will be available for anyone that may want to speak on. Sign of the times, what we see, what we think we see, what we've learned, and what many deem should be unlearned. Next, hi there, Leonia, how are you? I'm going to present another short video. Again, this is fair use. And please be sure to leave your comments and thoughts in the chat. Again, there's no judgment, it's just a conversation. This is taken from a video entitled, "The Evidence We Are Living in a Simulation."
Is this reality? Well, we're experiencing something right now, so maybe the better question is, what is reality? Could everything we see, everything we experience, everything that exists in our entire universe be artificial? Supporters of simulation theory believe that not only is it possible that we're living in a simulation, it's likely. And the more we look for evidence, the more we find. Let's find out why. The idea of the universe being a simulation is not a new one. Theories exist in ancient cultures around the world. Modern simulation theory comes from Nick Bostrom, a philosopher at Oxford who wrote an influential paper on the subject in 2003. Assuming that living in a simulation is possible, Bostrom presents the simulation trilemma, which says one of the following must be true. 1, we destroy ourselves before we're able to create a simulation. 2, we're able to create a simulation but choose not to. Or 3, we are definitely in a simulation. Bostrom believes each of these is equally likely to be true. Now, I don't think that's controversial. We use computer models to study the human population, predict the weather, for entertainment. We simulate everything. And when a civilization can create a realistic simulation, the most obvious one to create is that of its own early existence. Bostrom calls this an ancestral simulation. And a civilization that can do this wouldn't just create one simulation, it would create many. And those simulated civilizations might create their own simulations of the universe, and on like Russian nesting dolls of reality.
Now you're a character in that world and you think you have free will. And say, I want to invent a computer. So you do. Hey, I want to create a world in my computer. And then that world creates a world in its computer. And then you have simulations all the way down.
When Elon Musk was
Okay, your thoughts on that excerpt from The Evidence of Simulation. Any thoughts so far before I continue? And again, welcome to the members that are here. And please support them who are at the pin. And we will continue with this short video. Hi there, Wiley Rich. How are you? Welcome. And again, we'll continue with this video. And please be sure to share your thoughts, if you have any thoughts, on sign of the times or the times in which we live. This right here is the evidence that we are living in a simulation. And this is courtesy of The Why.
What made God decide to snap his fingers or wiggle his nose or whatever he did to make everything happen? If you ask a physicist to explain what existed before the universe, they'll give you an answer about quantum foam, dark energy, or something just as bonkers as the Big Bang. Ask a theologian what existed before God created the universe, and you'll get an answer equally as confusing. But what does make sense is that the universe was just sitting there dormant. Then someone somewhere decided to boot up a program. And in that program, our program, are all the laws of the universe. Electromagnetism and gravitational force are written into the program. The speed of light gets a value. There's code for Planck's constants of mass, speed, and time. Avogadro's number is in there, along with a bunch of other rules that govern the behavior of everything that exists. All part of our program. Even consciousness itself is part of our simulation. If you've never heard of simulation theory, then this might sound far-fetched. But some of the world's most respected scientists, technologists, and philosophers believe that it is more likely than not that we are living in an artificial reality. So,
okay, your thoughts on that? And Ryder says, this whole world is complex. I try not to think about it. I'm not very religious, but I keep my faith in the Most High hands. Absolutely. I agree with that. And while Rich, Unstoppable Entertainment says, I'm okay. Well, hopefully you'll be better. Conscious Energy, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Do you have anything you would like to add to this conversation on the sign of the times or the times in which we live? And again, peace and blessings to you. Now, I want to shift real quickly to another phrase that we've heard for so long, at least many of us, I believe we had. Peace in the Middle East. Oh, well, I love everyone. Thank you. So, again, this is fair use. And this is just going to be a snippet. And your thoughts on this current event.
In the fourth day of this war, nearly 2,000 people are dead in Israel and Gaza. At least 14 are Americans, and we don't know how many Americans are among the 100 hostages.
Speaking from the White House today, President Biden vowed to offer support to Israel, working with allies and partners around the world.
Let there be no doubt, the United States has Israel's back. We will make sure the Jewish and democratic state of Israel can defend itself today, tomorrow, as we always have.
The White House posted this photo on social media of President Biden speaking on the phone with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Their military continued the retaliatory strikes, pummeling Gaza with hundreds of missiles, targeting what it called Hamas's terror nest. The UN says.
Okay, you all's thoughts on the Israel-Hamas situation that is going on currently, if you have any thoughts on that, and how that ties into the sign of the times or the times in which we are living. Again, I will drop this link for anyone who has anything they would like to share or offer as their opinions as to what they've seen growing up to current times today. Ryder says, oh my God, I have my thoughts on that. I can tell you who the real terrorist is, and it's not Hamas or the Palestinian people. Hi there, twin. I see you. And thank you so much for coming. And those of you that are just coming in, please make sure, if you do not mind, to hit the like button and share if you would like. And Ryder says, I can't hit the panel, but I know the history between them both. That is absolutely fine, Ryder. You're welcome to leave your comments. I will be soon as well, twin. After this. But Ryder, if you would like, you can leave your comments as to your knowledge on the aforementioned. And the link again is there for those who may want to speak on that. And I'm going to continue with the video that I played earlier. Hey there, Black Edits, how are you? Happy Sunday. So again, we're going to go into the evidence of simulation and how all of this could possibly tie in to one another.
Oh, how do we prove it?
The sun doesn't give light to the moon, assuming the moon is going to owe it one. Just like the sun will never send you an electricity bill to generate your own power. Click the button to access our solar cost calculator to find out how much.
If we live in an artificial reality, it would make sense for there to be occasional glitches. Philip K. Dick is one of the most influential science fiction writers of all time. Movies based on his books include Blade Runner, Total Recall, Minority Report, The Adjustment Bureau, and plenty of others. He believed there are many universes, and sometimes those other realities bleed into ours. He claimed to have visions of this, and even wrote stories like The Man in the High Castle based on these visions.
That in fact, plural realities did exist, superimposed onto one another, like so many film transparencies.
One way other realities blend into ours could be the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect is when a large number of people have memories of events that don't match reality. This is called the Mandela effect because millions of people specifically remember Nelson Mandela died in prison. He didn't. People remember his wife walking beside his casket in a funeral procession that was on television for 2 hours that day. This never happened. Or the Berenstain Bears, which people insist were always called the Berenstein Bears.
Now, how many of you knew about Nelson Mandela? And you're welcome to put that in the chat. Hey there, Brett. How are you? They do not play until tomorrow night. But thank you for coming by. And hopefully you had a beautiful Sunday. Well, we learn something every day. And we'll continue. And please, those who would like to leave comments as to if you believe we are living in a simulation, a particular social construct, please feel free to leave your comments. And if you disagree, your comments are also welcome. And we'll continue.
Tycoon from Monopoly having a monocle that he never had. What was Darth Vader famous for saying?
Luke, I am your father.
Nope, he never said that.
What?
What about Stouffer's stovetop stuffing?
Best part of Thanksgiving.
No, it isn't, because there's no such product. Stovetop is made by Kraft.
No.
The evil queen from Snow White who looked into her mirror and said,
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Nope.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest one of all?
My reality is shattered.
People remember Febreze being spelled with 2 E's. People remember Jiffy peanut butter, but there's no such thing. And there are a lot more. Personally, I don't have most of these false memories, but there are a few that get me. The Flintstones. There are 2 T's in the Flintstones. I remember just one. And what about the Fruit of the Loom logo? I could swear it looks like this, but it doesn't. This is the actual logo. No cornucopia.
Cornu what now?
Basket.
Now, how many of you knew that? And Brett says he was in prison for some BS. And Black has his mouth shut emoji there. So the purpose of this video is to show how the mental thinks. We can see something and our mind can focus and believe it is to be, or it is one way because how it's actually presented. But if you peel back the layers, you will see, in fact, it is something different. And Andrea, thank you, member Andrea states, I did. Andrea is one of my special members. And when I say special, I mean her comments are extremely profound and on point. So again, Fruit of the Loom was actually a very, very excellent. I'm just trying to make sure I use the correct word, not to offend. A very good analogy as to how what may appear to be real or accurate is indeed the exact opposite. And writer says, it's too much to text. Maybe if you have another live, I would love to hit the panel. Sure, I can do that. You don't have to text a soliloquy or anything like that. Just any comments that you had. They can be brief or you can wait. So with that, I'm going to continue with this video in reference to the evidence, in reference to, are we living in a simulation? And for those of you that are here, if you believe that we are, please indicate by leaving a 1. If not, you can leave a 2. And if you're unsure, you may leave the number 3. Brett says, I can't wait until Trump goes to prison and can't run for any political offices anymore. Okay, Brett, I'm sure there are many, many who agree with you. And I am sure, in fact, I know there are many who disagree with that point. But I welcome you and thank you. Writer says, because I would love to give a history lesson on this conflict. Well, writer, you do have that option as a perk with your membership. I believe you have a way of getting in contact with me. I'm almost sure that you do. So whenever your schedule permits and you are ready, that is your perk and you can host that. When you are ready, just let me know and we can make that happen. And without further delay, we'll continue with the video. Are we in a simulation? And those of you that are still here in the chat and those that may catch the replay, please indicate whether or not you feel as though we are in a simulation by entering a 1. If you feel as though we are not, please enter a 2. And if you're unsure, you may enter a 3. Again, this is fair use. And thank you all that have come in and supported.
Just say basket for crying out loud.
And at the end of Moonraker, a terrible but excellent James Bond movie, I remember Jaw's girlfriend as having braces. I mean, I specifically remember it. She didn't have braces. I just can't get my brain to accept it. That's the Mandela effect. So why do millions of people distinctly remember different things?
Glitch in a simulation.
Yep. Philip K. Dick also felt when we experienced deja vu, it's because something in our simulated universe changed and a new timeline branched off of the current one.
We are living in a computer programmed reality And the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed.
Ever feel like you've lived a moment before? That's because, according to Philip K. Dick and others, you have. Deja vu is the simulation correcting itself with new information.
Question: how many of you have felt as though you have been a participant, if you will, of the phenomena of deja vu? Brett says, I saw a video of a cat walking in place, and this guy gets near it, and the cat stops. And after the guy leaves, the cat starts walking in place as if it's on a slick treadmill. That is interesting. No worries, Ryder. And I'm still waiting to see some ones, twos, or threes in the chat as to if you believe we are living in a simulation. You may do that as I continue with this video. Again, fair use.
But skeptics can easily dismiss these theories. The human mind is terribly unreliable. They don't accept this as evidence. But we're not done yet.
I was 17 years old when I took over my family's small farm. Today, we farm over 15,000 acres and grow the majority of pumpkins sold in America. And that's
We live in a huge universe, 200 billion trillion stars. And even if life is rare, you'd think there'd be some evidence of it somewhere. This is Fermi's paradox. According to the Drake equation, there should be over 1 million technologically advanced civilizations just in our galaxy. And on average, the nearest one should be just a few hundred light years away. But there's nothing, at least not that we can see. So where is everybody? Are we really alone in the universe, or does our program only focus on us? And what about the physical rules that are in place? Max Tegmark, a cosmologist at MIT, said the strict laws of physics point to the possibility of a simulation. Putting a cap on the speed of light sure is a good way to keep your Sims from venturing out too far from home. Theoretical physicist James Gates thought simulation theory was crazy. Then he started studying quarks and electrons. He found error-correcting code buried deep inside the equations used to describe string theory.
So you're saying as you dig deeper, you find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos.
Into the equations that we want to use to describe the cosmos, yes.
Computer code.
Computer code, strings of bits of ones and zeros.
Dr. Gates has changed his mind about simulation theory. In 2017, a group of scientists at the University of Washington proved they can embed computer code into strands of DNA. Everything in nature is math. Look at the Fibonacci sequence. You get the Fibonacci sequence by adding two previous numbers in the sequence together. So 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 1 = 3, 3 + 2 = 5, 5 + 3 = 8, and so on forever. You get the golden ratio, also called phi, by dividing two consecutive Fibonacci numbers. So the number 89 is a Fibonacci number. The next number in the sequence after 89 is 144. 144 divided by 89 is the golden ratio. It's about 1.618. We see Fibonacci numbers and the golden ratio everywhere. The number of petals on a flower is usually a Fibonacci number. Lilies have 3 petals, buttercups have 5, chicory has 21, and a daisy has 34. And the spacing of each petal is arranged in a circle according to the golden ratio. As true.
Your thoughts on that? Ryder says, are we living in a simulation? I think not. Even or everything has a beginning and end. This universe was created by something, the Most High, but how the Most High has come into existence. Sanskar, welcome. Please do not spam the chat. Do not spam the chat. I appreciate you coming, but do not spam the chat. Thank you. And writer says, everything has a beginning. And writer has said 2 for no. Okay, let me get back up to writer and reread his comment. Are we living in a simulation? I think not. Everything has a beginning and end. This universe was created by something, the Most High. I agree with that. But how the Most High come into existence? I'm not sure if you were here when I put up a brief excerpt from the book of Revelations. And writer says, I'm typing too fast. My sentences are off. No worries. I caught it. And Big Pontiac. And welcome, Big Pontiac. I haven't had a chance to look over the games, but I understand there were 2 major upsets, one being Philly, but that'll be something different. But I'm sorry, Big Pontiac says, could be both or could be neither. Whatever it is able to adjust and create. And member Melly says, number 2, which means no. Okay, so we have 2 twos right now. My honest opinion, I believe there is some credence to the evidence of simulation. I'm not sure how involved, but I do believe there's some credence. And as I said, some, and I'll put up quickly again for those who may not have seen an excerpt from the book of Revelations, which states, 7 churches in the province of Asia, grace and peace to you from him who is, and who was, and who is to come, and from the 7 spirits before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins by his blood, and has made us to be a kingdom of priests to serve his God and Father. To him be glory and power forever and ever. Amen. And as I mentioned earlier, there are many that are pronouncements of the Bible, and that goes true for some when it comes to the Quran. Everyone is an individual and they have their individual beliefs, and there is absolutely no judgment here. However, my question is, if you look at that excerpt from the book of Revelations, which documents what is to be, from my understanding, how does that tie in with simulation and what we see now in reference to the war in Israel? And writer said earlier that he has a history teaching for us at a later time, which I look forward to hearing that perspective. And writer says, let me put this up. The only simulation is the propaganda that they advertise on media to fool the population. It's like people are using simulation to play God. Whoever controls the media controls the mind of the people. I will star that and read it again for those who may be truckers, those who may be tucked in. The only simulation is the propaganda that they advertise on media to fool the population. It's like people are using simulation to play God. Whoever controls the media controls the mind of the people. Well, writer, that is a very profound statement. However, and I mentioned this earlier, I forgot whose platform it was. It was The Legend, as a matter of fact. That was a very good live, as a matter of fact. My question or my statement was, we all know that the brain is physical and the mind is mental. And from my optics, I would think that our minds at some point in life would know or be able to decipher what is indeed propaganda or actuality. Your thoughts or anyone's thoughts on that. And that is not debating, but it's just a question. Because I've been on this earth for a very, very long time now. I've seen many things. Lord knows I've experienced many things. And there are some things I could say I may not have had full information. That is why I do as much research as possible. And in doing such, I've definitely had a change in perspective. So with that, let us continue this video. Almost through with it. And thank you to everyone that has stopped by. Again, this is fair use, and the title is Evidence We Are Living in a Simulation. As I mentioned, always, always, always do your own research, because there could be different perspectives. There could be outdated information. There could be updated information. And here we go.
Trees grow, the number of branches they form is a Fibonacci number. And not just plants, animals too. The ratio of female to male honeybees in a colony is the golden ratio, 1.618. The human body conforms to the golden ratio too. Most of the body follows the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 5. 1 nose, 2 eyes, 3 limb segments, 5 fingers, 5 toes. The proportions of the body, like the length of your shoulder to your elbow, and from your elbow to your fingertips, that's the golden ratio. Even a DNA molecule measures 34 angstroms long by 21 angstroms wide. Fibonacci numbers and the golden ratio. From the spiral of seashells to the spiral of a galaxy and everything in between, Fibonacci numbers are everywhere. Now, some claim this is a coincidence, that humans look for patterns in chaos because that's what we're programmed to do.
What we're programmed to do.
And isn't that interesting? By trying to debunk simulation theory, they actually end up proving it. No matter what we study, whether it's something the size of a galaxy or as small as an electron, everything in the universe seems to follow patterns and rules. In other words, a program.
Andrea says, godly instincts are pure and clear. Confusion of mind control wicked, or when you allow one to change gut, just knowing reality of the world looks like a world melting pot. I'll star that and repeat. Thank you so much, member Andrea. Godly instincts are pure and clear. Confusion of mind control, wicked, or if you allow one to change, gut, just knowing, reality of world melting pot. And writer says, put it like this. You can believe one thing, but if something you don't believe is constantly being pushed on you, eventually that will mentally break and start to believe that what's being pushed on you is true. That's actually a very good point as well, which goes back to my original thought, the strengthening of one's mind. And maybe not everyone is able to do that, which brings me back to my belief in the laws of the universe and the spaces some of us choose to frequent. We do know, at least I believe wholeheartedly, in light and darkness. You cannot, and I've said this so many times, really, truly appreciate the light unless you've experienced darkness. However, because of my staunch belief in the transference of energy, one who decides willingly to frequent darkness, that may, unfortunately, encapsulate their souls and change who they were at one point in time. Now, whether or not it can be reverted, it's unknown to me, but I am very, very careful of spaces that I go, people with whom I interact. And I'm not just speaking social media, I'm talking about life itself. Blackbird says, I'm nervous. I think he's speaking about something else. So I will go on to writer who says, everyone is an individual. Some people don't have the mental capacity to read through BS. This is why we have followers and leaders. There has to be a balance of both. You just hit the nail on the head. And I will say, and people may get a little bit upset, but it's the truth. I have noticed, at least on social media platforms, that there are some who are absolutely followers. They will hear others use a catchphrase when it's referenced to an individual, and then all of a sudden they jump on the bandwagon. Those are followers. And for those that I've seen do that, I don't listen to them anymore, because to me, when you have to follow someone else, and to me, some of these things are so juvenile. Again, my opinion, it says a lot about that individual. And no, I am not perfect. I'm not holier than thou, but I have my own thoughts, my own mind, and I will speak up when led to speak up. And I will never, ever feel as though or be compelled to conform just to be in the in crowd. That's not leadership. And I never, ever want to be lumped in as a follower. Now, I can enjoy other content and support. But as far as being a follower on a bandwagon of what may be hot at the time, that's not me. And again, no slight to those who do that, but that is something that I can't do. I will not do. I've never been a proponent of that, nor will I. And that comment is, to me, on the money. Everyone is an individual. Some people don't have the mental capacity. And I think that's the operative phrase right there that we all can extrapolate from your comment writer. Some people don't have the mental capability to read through BS. This is why we have followers and leaders. There has to be a balance. Andrea says, sin and weakness of mind, just as powerful as a venomous tongue, unsettling to please another's spirit. That's another gem Andrea just dropped. Let me star that. Sin and weakness of mind, just as powerful as a venomous tongue, unsettling to please another's spirit. That absolutely happens, social media and in the real world, if you will. Hi there, Empress. How are you? Happy Sunday. We're speaking about the sign of the times, or the times in which we live. And I'm going over a video, and I asked the question earlier, if you believe we are living in a simulation. If you think that we are, you can put a number 1 in the chat. If you think we are not, you can put a 2 in the chat. If you are unsure, you may put a number 3 if you choose to do so. And again, this is fair use on the video entitled The Evidence We Are Living in a Simulation. Now, many of us do not believe that. And I, again, implore you to do your independent research. And this is courtesy of The Why.
To simulate an entire universe, you'd obviously need more advanced technology than we have. But that doesn't mean we won't get there. Moore's law says that computing power doubles every 18 months. And this has held true for about 50 years. Now, that is slowing down a little bit, but only because of physical limitations. Assuming we can learn to make microchips smaller, and there's no doubt that we will, it's predicted that artificial intelligence could surpass human intelligence within the next 100 years. As Elon Musk points out, when he was a kid, the world's most advanced video game was Pong, 2 rectangles on a screen. 40 years later, video game technology is barely distinguishable from reality. He said that 6 years ago. And even in that short time, video game engines have become even more realistic. Look at this footage from Unreal Engine 5.
When a world we can build feels as real as our own.
What just happened?
Imagine what games are going to look like in the next 6 years, or the next 60, or the next 6,000.
Writer says, DoeEyes, I'll be honest, what sets you apart is that you are not some ghetto, ratchet, melanated woman. You don't bring off masculine energy. I can't say that for most of these ratchets on here. Well, thank you, writer. I appreciate that. Again, I'm not perfect. I've gone off. You actually heard me go off a couple of times. However, I do try to pride myself on, because I am, for more lack of a word, I guess, considered an elder because I am over 50, God willing, 55 next month. There's no way. Hey there, Information Man Show, that I can behave the way that I see some in my age group, perhaps a little bit younger. You will never see me neck rolling and using some of the language that we see out here. Again, no slight to anyone. I believe a lot of people are in character, but if you purport to be I'll just say, if you purport yourself to be royalty, there are certain things that should never escape your mouth at all. And those that do, I have absolutely no respect for those individuals whatsoever. I'm actually embarrassed. And again, Information Man Show is in the house. Awesome live today. And you're absolutely right. For those of you that are here, please take a moment to visit Information Man Show. I'd still like to be able to do a build, but of course, we're all busy. And there should have been more people there. But as he said, we rather talk about celebrities and other things that we see on social media. And for some, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to grab your bag the best way that you can. But pertinent information that Information Man showed today as far as suicide, and I have mentioned this before, sitting down at the table. I think it was maybe last week or two that I asked the question, how many of us actually sit together at the supper table, or do we all retreat to our own rooms? And Information Man Show brought that up today. So there are people that ask those questions, but unfortunately, the ears, in my opinion, that need to hear it, they're talking about celebrities. And again, if that's their niche, that's fine. But I believe there should also be a balance and real life conversations such as the one Information Man Show and many, many others on this platform should be had, and not only had, but heard. So that's my point for that. And okay. Good. An Information Man Show, we're just talking about sign of the times that we're living in. And are we living in a simulation? And I'll continue with this video entitled The Evidence We Are Living in a Simulation. Again, I implore you to do your own research because, again, some of this information could be outdated or updated.
But simulating an entire universe, how big of a computer will we need? Well, it's estimated that there are 10 to the power of 80 atoms in the universe. Let me put that on the screen just for fun. Okay, that's a lot. If each particle needs 128 bits to calculate its position and momentum, you're at 10 to the power of 83 bits. And that's just for data storage. We also need computing power to track what each of those particles is doing. If we say 2 floating point operations per second, or 2 flops per particle, we're at 2 times 10 to the 80th power flops. There aren't even words for these numbers. And this is the computing power for just the stuff in the universe. What about human intelligence? The human brain can perform 100 trillion calculations per second, or 100 teraflops. Multiplied by billions of people, the numbers are ridiculous. To power all of this, the simulation would need access to multiple Dyson spheres, the megastructures that capture 100% of the energy of a star. Or the simulation would have to harness the energy from black holes. This is why famous physicists like Dr. Michio Kaku are not on board with simulation theory. He claims that simulating a universe is not scientifically possible. The only computer capable of simulating a universe is the universe itself. Now, at first glance, this makes sense. But with all due respect to Dr. Kaku, that's not how simulations work. When you're playing a 3D video game, the entire game world isn't rendered. Instead, the game engine only calculates what the player can see and interact with at that specific moment. If we are living in a simulation, then it would make sense that the creators of the simulation would use a similar technique. And wouldn't it be
Okay, your thoughts on that portion of the video, which speaks to the video games and the simulation. Now, we all have seen a tremendous uptick in video games. And as you saw from the video earlier, how the first, or one of the first games called Pong came about. We're now in 2023. The technology is off the roof. So what you just saw, does that sway anyone from believing whether we are or are not in a simulation? And if you look at or research AI, and as I said, I did a video earlier on a AI-inspired soft drink from Coca-Cola entitled Y3000. And the premise behind that is wondering what flavors, ideas, colors would be of interest in the year 3000. The brand Coca-Cola, as we know, has been around forever, and they're already planning for the year 3000. And again, they've used, according to the story, and you can look it up and do your own research, humans and AI, which is, of course, artificial intelligence, to come up with their product, which is a limited edition soft drink, a futuristic, if you will, soft drink. Again, this is Coca-Cola Y3000. Hey there, Elaine Channel. Welcome again to another one of my members. So, your thoughts thus far on that? And I will continue with this video. The evidence. We are living in a simulation. Again, fair use. Let me speed it up just a little.
There.
Good evening, ma'am. Doing 52 in the 25 zone. Have you been drinking?
No, if you're smelling something, it might be my spiked eggnog body wash. It's kind of cinnamony. Oh,
Really cinnamony.
Or
There. But just very quietly go and unplug it. Don't let the atoms know that you're not spying on them. Run the experiment again. Now, if you can explain this using common sense and logic, do let me know, because there's a Nobel Prize for you.
It's as if the particles are aware they're being observed. Then physicist John Wheeler had an idea. He called it the delayed choice experiment. How it works is, Photons are projected through the double slit, but the detector is not activated until after they pass through the slit, but before they impact the screen. Photons were emitted as waves, passed through the slits as waves, but when the waves were observed before hitting the screen, they suddenly behaved like particles again. Still don't think there's an intelligence at work? Well, what Wheeler's experiment showed is that even though the electrons started as waves but behaved like particles after being observed, at the moment the decision to observe them was made, the electrons recorded themselves as having passed through the slits as particles. The electrons changed their state by going back in time.
So that is the conclusion of that video. You can go back and watch it in its entirety. And it's entitled "The Evidence That We Are in a Simulation" by The Why. Andrea states, and I'll leave this one more time. If no one has anything to offer, I'll read the remainder of the comments and close it out. Andrea says, video games screwed up children and took away common sense. Don't take anything serious. Everything's a joke, drama, and violence. Absolutely. And let me read that again. Hi there, Rochelle. How are you? Talking about the sign of the times or the times in which we're living. And if you have anything you'd like to offer, you are more than welcome. And again, Andrea says, video games screwed up children, took away common sense. Don't take anything serious. Everything's a joke, drama, and violence. And again, welcome, Rochelle Vanterpool. And Andrea, that's a profound statement. However, in my opinion, it is not the children alone whose common sense has been swayed, because there are many older people that engage in video games. Now, some of them, I'm sure, this doesn't affect. However, there could be, and I'm saying could be, a population of individuals, those who are adults, in which that holds true, where their common sense, again, may have wavered. Some adults may not, at this point in time, take anything serious, or everything's a joke, drama, and violence. Some of us have seen it by keyboard warriors, and some who actually carry out some of the things that they say. So again, anyone with any final comments they would like to leave or offer, the link is there. If not, I will close it out and thank everyone for taking their time out to listen to this broadcast entitled "Sign of the Times," or the times for which we are living. Hi there, Shamir. How are you? Happy Sunday to you. Oh, it's Monday. Well, happy Monday to you. And thank you so much for coming through. Again, I'll leave this up for a couple of moments and close this out. No worries, Shamir. And again, thank you to all of my members. Those that are still here, please make sure your notification bells are on, because I do have a members only giveaway that is coming up. So please make sure, again, your notification bells are on. All are welcome, actually, to join in the fun, but this is for members only. And I'll give it one more minute to make sure everyone has had the opportunity to visit one another. And then I will close this broadcast out. And again, thank you, members. Thank you, all of the mods. Thank you, subscribers, and those that come by to support. You are all truly, truly appreciated. Okay, Shamir, you're taken care of. And good night to you, Empress. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you to everyone that took time, as I said, to stop by. Those that catch the replay, please be sure, if you would like, to leave your comments in the comment section. Everyone enjoy the remainder of their Sunday. And perhaps, as I mentioned earlier, it's Monday for some of you. So happy Monday. You all take care. And again, be safe, be well. You know the rest. Be healthier. Till next time, bye-bye for now.